Un reportage pour tous les activistes.
Demanding the city maintain its autonomy.
Sorry.
Chile's government is coming under extreme pressure as violent street protests show no sign of abating.
Protesters clashing with police in many areas of the capital, Santiago.
The protest widened into a mass movement against inequality.
Violence of the state police against the protesters at such a level that the United Nations is raising concerns.
When you fucking lie to the young people, you will find or answer on the streets. We're just really tired. But not tired of being on the streets and protest. We're just tired of these lies, this constantly lying.
Young people put their feet forward as they walk in protest against climate change.
I just feel like doing it because it's not so often in Uganda that people of my age stand up and demand what they want.
In Hong Kong, the occasion was marked with riot police and tear gas. Protesters took their anti-government demonstration to the city's shopping centers,
Calling for democratic reforms and demanding the city maintain its autonomy.
I don't think I can return to my old life anymore. Like, since it started, then you took up the responsibilities, then you can't really go back.
It's weird because I do feel connected to my hometown. And I will definitely say that Santiago is my hometown. But just imagining raising my future children here is weird because I really don't want to expose my children to so many problems that we have here at the moment. I really want them to have like more opportunities than I have.
Hola. ¿Cómo está?
Bien, mi amor, ¿y usted?
Bien, porque somos amigas. Y porque venía a comprarme algo también.
Ay, qué bueno. Ya están en el partido ese sociales.
Sí, aquí es donde vivo yo. Es donde vivo yo.
Ustedes, la juventud, son los que tienen que ver mucho. Sí. Ustedes, la juventud, son los que en realidad tienen que ver qué es la realidad de lo que está pasando.
Ah,
Porque ya el viejo ya tiene sus años.
es verdad. Ya no cambia el viejo.
No cambia. No cambia. Y entonces,
Pero sí, gracias.
chao, chao.
Que esté bien. Nos
Los
vemos.
jóvenes son los que tienen que cambiar el mundo.
Sí.
El mundo.
Es verdad. Nos vemos, que esté bien.
I like my neighborhood because I can see like a lot of different cultures, Venezuelan people, Colombian, and I really like that. When I went to school, I never saw my parents because they are just always working. So my grandmother raised me, who is also still working, even that she's 70 years, because the pensions are just so low and the cost of living is so high that you just can't live if you're not working. You know, Chile is seen as one of the richest countries in Latin America. But we, the working class, don't get anything from that. We're the only country in the world where water is privatized. Privatized education, privatized healthcare, and pension systems still mainly favor the wealthy. We have a huge inequality gap. Fucking low wages, fucking low pensions, and the cost of living gets higher and higher. But the biggest problem is our constitution, which is the main reason for failing healthcare, terrible pensions, and the big gap in our society. It was developed under Pinochet, a brutal dictator. We ask ourselves, how can that be still in our law? All these graffitis tell stories and show things that are real, that happen, that you can forget. This is a really, really powerful photo because it's where all began, where all start to happen, like with this, like to make noise, and the ladies just doing this, the plate, the wooden spoon. It's really, really meaningful to us. It is. I remember that day really, really clearly because it was like Friday, October 18, and the government raised the prices for the metro again. So the working class and the poor people have to pay more for their everyday lives again. After decades of inequality, that was just enough. People got really angry and called on everyone not to pay for the tickets anymore. And I remember that I was on the bus and I looked on the street and saw like, wow, there's something going on here and it's like different. And I remember that we get like really close to my house, and in one street there were just so many people doing this. And all my friends and we realized that that was only the beginning.
Oh, Joshua Paco. No, Joshua. I'm gonna Joshua Paco. Joshua Paco. Being around my family gives me so much hope, especially in those moments when
I am feeling down, they give me this motivation because I don't want them to pass through the same experience I passed through when I was growing up. So they keep me motivated. 1, 2, 3, and go. 1, 2, 3, and go. 1, 2, 3, and go. I grew up in Wakiso district in a small town called Chengera. I spent most of my childhood with my father. I didn't spend so much time with my mother when I was still young.
yabeeranga mujagujagu nnyo nga buli kimu akikola ku speed naye ng'ayagala nnyo bwe ngenda okukola muleetereyo ekintu oba swiiti oba ki ng'era akulengerera eri yagalanga nnyo yabyemu obutyo busimakisimaaka ng'ogenze mami mpayo eza swiiti fakti abantu bakimukaza nako ng'asaba nnyo sente za swiiti.
My parents had a plantation where we used to rear cows or other animals like goats, pigs, chicken, very huge plantations, and by then they used to be farmers. But due to the effects of climate change, all the crops dried out due to no rainfall. Sometimes there was heavy rainfall that washed away all the crop, and also the rising temperatures that dried out all the streams and wells where we used to collect the water to feed the livestock. My parents had to sell all the land we had so that they could get money to cater for our food, our survival, our fees. It gets worse and worse every year. Hundreds of people died because of these same floodings. Too many families lost their homes, and mine is one of them. I remember a time when I had to miss my school because my parents were out of money and I had to sit home like for 4 months. It was really very bad, and from then I thought I could do something to change this whole situation. By that time I didn't know that the effects we were facing were because of climate change. Uganda's past was precious. Those who were there before could call it the Pearl of Africa, but I don't think they could come back right now and call it the same again.
It is a lovely afternoon right here in studio, and yet also another wonderful day where we discuss issues that affect the youth in Uganda. Here on the program, Young and Smart. My name is Lorene, and today in studio we have the team from Fridays to Future Uganda.
Hello. Thank you.
So, Lorene.
It's so cold. My name is Nakawia Hilda Flavia. I'm a climate activist and I'm a student at Kampala International University. I'm 22 years old and I pursue a bachelor's degree in procurement and supply chain management.
So, why climate? You could have maybe gotten another passion, maybe about the girl child or something, or sexual harassment. Why climate?
Okay. To me, I choose climate because it is something that affects each and every one of us. When you look at maybe a girl child or violation, it looks at only one gender. And in the world, we have two genders. So climate change affects each and every one of us, no matter the age, no matter the size, no matter the gender, no matter the status. So it is something that is connected to us.
I'll also ask you a question that what do you want the youth to know about Fridays for Change? What can you tell them that can convince them?
My message to the youth, I'll first of all begin with a question. To all the youth who are listening to me right now, I just want to pose one question to you. Why would you study for a future that is not clear?
我哋仲係五大訴求一個都未有。香港人加油！香港人！光復香港！光復香港！
I'm born and raised in Hong Kong, and I grew up in the Kowloon side. I would say that my hometown, it's really homey. I always feel connected to Hong Kong because I've been here for my whole life. I have all my friends around me, and my parents are all in Hong Kong. So I don't really have some other places that I could call home.
I saw it.
好多人企咗喺後邊，我想問一句：香港人對呢次嘅運動係咪咁團結？我每次諗起呢樣嘢，我真係覺得好心痛。我每晚都瞓得好差。點解今時今日要班年青人出嚟幫我哋頂？好多朋友問我點解要出嚟做急救，要行出嚟。我同佢哋講，好簡單嘅原因係我。
1 minute, please. Sorry.
It's for change. What can you tell them that can convince them?
My message.
我哋仲係一啲嘢都未贏到，我哋仲係五大訴求一個都未有。香港人加油！香港人！光復香港！光復香港！
I'm born and raised in Hong Kong, and I grew up in the Kowloon side. I would say that my hometown, it's really homey. I always feel connected to Hong Kong because I've been here for my whole life. I have all my friends around me, and my parents are all in Hong Kong. So I don't really have some other places that I could call home.
好多人企咗喺後邊，我想問一句：香港人對呢次嘅運動係咪咁團結？我每次諗起呢樣嘢，我真係覺得好心痛。我每晚都瞓得好差。點解今時今日要班年青人出嚟幫我哋頂？好多朋友問我點解要出嚟做急救，要行出嚟。我同佢哋講，好簡單嘅原因係我欠咗佢哋㗎。5年前雨傘運動，我哋爭取啲乜嘢？我哋乜都爭取唔到。97之後，我哋睇住個社會一步步咁慢慢俾人蠶食落去，溫水煮蛙。我哋有冇企過出嚟？我哋冇。我哋做一個年青人，我自己個80後，做一個成年人。你哋自己問問良心，你哋覺唔覺意得去？睇住班僆仔俾人打，你哋心裏會點樣諗？你會覺得好心痛啊！佢哋係真係為咗我哋㗎。見到佢哋講句多謝，俾個擁抱，同佢握個手，我相信佢哋好感激。多謝大家，香港人，香港人。
activists around me make me realize that there's still hope in this city. Because the major thing of a city is the space and people. Without these two elements, you can't have a city. And people are really united till now, 3 months later. It kills my thought on thinking about moving out from Hong Kong or like going somewhere else, because I can feel the linkage between me and Hong Kong right now. Success is definitely important in a protest and a movement. But I think the love and care you have towards your hometown is way more important than success.
Now, Hong Kong people are to run Hong Kong. That is the promise, and that is the unshakable destiny.
A long time ago, my hometown, Hong Kong, was handed back by the British to China in 1997 under the premise of one country, two systems. We all were raised with democratic values, with freedom of speech, with freedom of press. But in the recent years, China is trying everything to make Hong Kong just like another Chinese city. A dictatorship with their own propaganda and great firewall like it's done in China has nothing to do with our values. So this is the most important thing for us because we don't want dictatorship. I mean, that was a promise to us. They may think that we belong to them, that they possess us. But I'm not from China. I'm from Hong Kong.
I first started to protest on the 9th of June because on the 12th of June was supposed to be the day that our chief executive, Carrie Lam, going to push the extradition law to China, which actually minimized our independence in Hong Kong.
Do you, as Hong Kong's leader, have the autonomy to decide to withdraw the bill, yes or no, or is this something that Beijing has to approve as well?
Well, actually,
this
question has been answered on previous occasions.
But you've evaded the question on numerous occasions.
As we have all heard from the spokesman of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, the central government is still confident that I myself, as the government of the Hong Kong SAR, together with the police force, that we are still capable of resolving this crisis.
Do you have the autonomy or not to withdraw the extradition bill, please?
The second point I want to make.
Could you answer that specific question?
In response to the various demands that we have heard, we have considered all factors and came up with a response that we have rehearsed time and again over the last 2 months. Thank you very much.
Do you have the autonomy or not to withdraw the extradition bill?
Answer your question.
You have not answered the question. You've evaded the question.
Thousands of people have just wrapped up a rally in central Hong Kong for the fight against a controversial extradition bill.
Those amendments could have allowed Beijing to spirit Hong Kongers to mainland China for any accused crimes, even those that might be made up.
Critics worry that the bill would make it easier for Beijing to exert control over the region.
You're looking at live pictures from Hong Kong. They are demonstrating against a proposed law allowing extradition to mainland China.
The situation, turned violent this afternoon as the clashes erupted between police and protesters.
I have seen people getting injured or getting caught and getting arrested. It would just always remind me to be more careful and to be more alert. For me, I do worried about being arrested, but not in a sense of like, oh, I have to be in jail for like how many years and I lost my freedom. It's not about that. It's mainly now it's about how the police would beat you up in that 48 hours that they're legally to detain you. That's actually the part that scares me a lot.
Pero bueno, hay que salir ya con Milico, Paco y toda la weá. Hace tiempo que no tenía sueños con ellos. El otro día soñé como weá rara, así como clásico apocalipsis zombie, pero después me terminaba escapando de los milicos, que decían prefiero zombies. No, sino que era como entrar a un lugar y había milico. Y dije, no, prefiero zombies que milico. Igual me da miedo, como que el otro día igual me da miedo decir que corro muy re lento. Si algún día tengo que correr, no voy a poder correr porque soy muy lento.
I think you can't simply ignore the young people and the working class. That will backfire at some point. You ignore the working class, you will have a whole city on the street. On October 25 of 2019, there was a huge protest in Santiago with 1.2 million people. We pushed for social reforms and more equal society. We thought our voices would be heard. Instead of doing anything that would have improved the situation of the working class, our billionaire president announced that Chile is at war, essentially against its own citizens.
Estamos en guerra contra un enemigo poderoso, implacable, que no respeta a nada ni a nadie, que está dispuesto a usar la violencia y la delincuencia sin ningún límite, incluso cuando significa pérdidas de vidas humanas, que está dispuesto a quemar nuestros hospitales, nuestras estaciones del metro, nuestros supermercados, con el único propósito de producir el mayor daño posible a todos los chilenos. Ellos están en guerra contra todos los chilenos de buena voluntad que queremos vivir en democracia, con libertad y en paz.
We're all scared. We're all scared that the police may arrest us one day. And especially me, I'm very scared that they will know my name, my address, and who my families and friends are. So it's a big deal to keep a secret. Most of my friends and some of my family members, they don't know my role on the front line. And I think it's better for them not to know it. But still, it feels I'm lying to them. For example, in my phone contacts, I made a special note for everyone who knows that I'm on the front line. Back in the time when I was studying in the UK, my housemates forced me watching so many James Bond films. So I put JB in front of every name of those people who know that I'm on the front line. I also have a Google Calendar managing my second life, so I can help myself remembering the lies that I made and not to make mistakes. Living this double life, it's really tiring. I don't want to lie to my friends that much, but I have no choice. And I don't want it to be like that forever.
There's a lot of plastic and polythene and dirt. It's just like a floating river of plastic. It hurts so much to see that what we call beauty or nature is turning out to be something evil, something that is going to kill us soon. But some people do not really care. We come out as people to clean it, and still some people will still throw plastic even when you're cleaning it.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Not in Uganda.
The girl. Yes, not in Uganda. Well, here it is now. In your backyard. This used to be a very, very good river. And if you talk to some people who used to be neighbors here, they used to come even and swim. Young children used to come in and swim. As we in schools who are next to the river, we used to have culture songs that we would sing for the river, our beautiful river. And I still know that river, I still know that song, and I love it so, so much. So, but as we grew up, and do you understand when you take things for granted? Slowly but surely, this river started disappearing.
Oh God. What takes up most of my time in this movement is creating massive climate awareness, because climate change is not taught in school, so people don't get it when we first talk to them about climate change. So we need rounds and rounds of discussions about it for them to get it, especially the elders feel that they have lived their life and the rest is for us, the coming generation, to do. I also moved to my class where I study from, and I had a conversation with my professor, and when I talked about climate change, he really gave me a negative attitude and told me climate change does not exist. And he told me climate change is God's plan and there is nothing I can do about it.
Yes. Okay? It has already been said, "Kora maybe of kora." No, halo himbaganizi. Hapo kubonu we nagonza obuhangwa, nagonza obwechumi, nagonza n'abantu. Doro mukazi muganda kati nwezera kuba cleaningira river park. Hata tumukude okunzwa. Good.
Toina na kimu ky'ovaako. Tosobola kufiira kintu na kimu. Kati mbadde mbasaba ngaawe tubeera kuno tukole ebintu naffe bye tulaba nti bye birungi. Guno omugabe mugukoma bulungi n'abaana bammwe n'abaana b'abaana bammwe bajja gusangawo. Shadrach.
Yes.
Okimanyi nti bino ebisubi bino bikolera wano wansi wonna waliwo plastic. Bicupa obusubi we bukuze. Omanyi buli w'osokolayo bicupa.
My biggest fears are if governments and corporate organizations and individuals do not act towards creating solutions to this climate crisis. I fear that the future I am working for right now will not be there because of inaction.
Like, positively speaking, I would say that every time, even we're like weak and then we're on the losing side, but it's always a chance for us to improve the next time. It's always a chance for us to learn what should we do better, or like what we could have used better next time, what kind of equipment we could have. I would say the worst thing to be on the losing side is that every time you being on the front line, you seeing people getting arrested and then going home that night, you feel like, why it's not me, or like why I didn't do anything to fight back to the police so I could actually have a chance to save that person from the police hand. That is like a really hard part. When they are actually really close to you, you feel scared, but at the same time you have to make the decision like, oh, I could have a chance to save that person. I could have a chance to not run away and maybe like grab that person's hand, then we could have run together and then I could have saved him from being arrested. So that's never right or wrong, because it's a human instinct that you protect yourself. But you also feel really guilty if you know that you may have like a 1% chance to save that person, even you don't know that person. What I like about Hong Kong and the protests here is that many young people, they are so innovative and they use their skills to serve the protests and improve the situation for the people here.
During the entire protest, everyone keeps saying, be water. And as a mapper, I can't direct people and tell them, go here, go there. But I can tell them where it's safe to go. And I think that's the most important for everyone right now, especially as civilians may very easily be caught up in conflict areas because you never know where it's going to be. So we hope that the map can provide information for people who wish to stay safe. Yeah. There was one day when all the protesters were rounded up in Newtown Plaza in Sha Tin. So they were directed into the MTR station into the mall by the police. Basically, they kettled all the protesters in the Sha Tin, and then they just started rounding them up and beating them up. We were just wondering, like, how could this have happened? Why is there nowhere to go, even for people who wanted to escape, who wanted to avoid conflict? So then we decided to draw a map so we could see where the police are, where protesters are, to make sure that people at least have an escape route. it updates real time, so people will know where the police are stationed, where there are a lot of protesters, where there are roadblocks, even how the transport situation is like. So this is information that would be useful for the general public, but would also be useful for people on the front lines if they want to know escape routes, if they want to know basically where police are, where it's not safe, where they should not go. Apart from that, we've also got some feedback from the first aid teams, so they're really grateful that we write down where protesters are, especially we also indicate the density of protesters in different areas so that they know where they should set up their first aid stations, supply stations, rest stations, and all that.
At work asked me, like, you don't have any fear of being at the front line? And I'm just like, no, I like to be on there because you change this fear into something else. Police at the protest, it's supposed to be there to protect us, but they do the opposite. They use all their power against us. When they shoot us right on the face. When they throw us water with this water cannon, they don't care what happened to us. They don't care if we get burned because of their toxic water. They don't care if they run over us with their trucks. They don't care.
Bomba lacrimógena, te duele los ojos, te duele todo. Y ellos se quedan así como santos que nunca hacen ninguna cuestión.
Esta es la vaga que está pasando aquí en Chile. Piñera Conchetumare. Date cuenta, Piñera Conchetumare.
I never see a person die on the Dignity Square, but I was near when Abel Acuña dies.
hora, el informe del Servicio Médico Legal que daría luces sobre la causa de muerte de Abel Acuña.
La 22ª víctima desde que se iniciaron las movilizaciones, que murió tras sufrir un paro cardiorrespiratorio en plena Plaza Italia.
También una funcionaria del SAMU resultó lesionada y un perdigón en la pierna.
O sea, lo que es peor todavía, o sea, aquí estamos hablando de que el personal se queja de que no pudo ejercer su labor, y segundo, hay personal que fue afectado directamente por el accionar de Carabineros, lo cual a nosotros nos parece que es gravísimo. Nosotros creemos que esta situación no debería volver a repetirse.
Ya, gracias. Permiso. Permiso.
Hola, permiso.
Acá hay una muestra de las fotos de chiquito.
Ah, ¿tiene fotos de niño ahí?
Este cuando está chiquitito.
El típico baile que le hacían a uno en el colegio.
Y yo te cuento cuando pequeño, un poquito más grande.
Y ahí está usted. ¿Y ese es su otro hijo?
Sí, el día.
Y ahí está como más adolescente.
Sí, unos 13 años.
Aquí siempre sacamos todo así.
¿Ah?
No, yo estoy bien. Gracias. ¿En serio? Sí, voy a tomar tecito nomás.
No, lo dice acá.
Ya, bueno, ya, bueno.
No, pero
ya, gracias.
Esto es un truco que se usa aquí las mujeres.
¿Cuál?
En general.
¿Debe decir que no?
Sí, la señora Campbell. Sí, pues no, gracias. Pero ya que insiste tanto.
Ya, bueno, ya.
Ponga. Y después con la policía, ¿sabes?
Sí, es verdad. Igual después me iba a dar hambre. Gracias.
No, sí.
Sí, ayer vi un video que recién había como que una niña encontró su celular, que era de cómo estaban llevándose ilegalmente los de la PDI a 2 niños que llevan 2 meses presos.
Sí.
Que los cargaron, que molotov, que estaban encapuchados, que no sé qué. Y se ve en el video que son 2 niños, no están ni siquiera encapuchados, se ve como les revisan las mochilas, no tienen nada, y después aparece que tenían molotov, que estaban encapuchados, que estaban rompiendo no sé qué. Llevan 2 meses presos por haber ido a una concentración en...
Que ahí tú te expones a todo, lamentablemente. O sea, y cada vez más, porque cuando nosotros nos empezamos a dar cuenta del acontecer, estábamos al inicio, ¿viste? Pero en vez de haber bajado eso...
¿Solo ha sido peor?
No, cada vez ha sido peor.
Y el problema es que no hay puntual. Es que por eso, o sea, yo no entiendo, así, no sé, como que me da mucha pena, pero no puedo así como imaginar lo que se debe sentir eso, porque de verdad
¿Qué ganas? Decía, no iba todos los días, el tercer viernes que iba, y iba con 2 compañeros más que eran tecnólogos. Y yo le decía, no vaya. Mami me decía, si voy un ratito, si salía a las 6:30 del trabajo, llegaba como a las 7. Y a las 8 se venía, porque ahí ya se ponía muy mal.
Sí, ese día se oscurece y los papás se ponen pero como locos.
Ese día yo le digo, lo llamé justo, le digo, vente a ver. Sí, mami, si ahora me voy, me dice. Y a mí lo que más me mata es que el doctor de la esponta central nos dijo que si ellos hubiesen dejado actuar la ambulancia, él no había fallecido. Porque la ambulancia que mandaron para allá fue la ambulancia con más adelanto, con más equipos adelante, para lo que él necesitaba.
Se veían los videos que la ambulancia estaba ahí como el guardia.
Ellos mojaron todos los equipos y los equipos no funcionaron.
No lo podían tener en esas condiciones.
El médico me dijo a mí, él no tenía que haber fallecido. Me dijo, con la ambulancia que mandamos, él no tenía que haber fallecido.
Y más encima están todos estos voluntarios ahí de primeros auxilios y también ayudando, que también les dispararon a
Pero si a ellos también les dispararon.
No, sí,
y la impotencia es tan grande que de verdad es como... ¿Cómo? Sí, y por eso mismo también como que cuando estoy allá sé que mis papás están preocupados y todo, pero también estoy ahí por ellos, porque por lo mismo, o sea, se esforzaron toda una vida para que yo pueda estudiar.
cuando lo mataron, a él me mataron la mitad de la vida.
Que me imagino.
Mira, también ya por mi otro hijo, papá, pero si no, no sé.
Que me imagino porque es un dolor incontenible. No. O sea, mi mamá me lo dice a mí. Así que me imagino así porque...
Esta foto me mata.
Es que sale muy bien. Many of them just risk their lives to serve the protest. And seeing all these dead people makes me feel really, really sad. Because there is no responsibility at all. No one is taking responsibility for all these deaths. There is no justice, so makes me feel even more angry. I really, really don't want to be the next face on this wall.
I would say to be on the front line, you have to be really clear mind. You have to be calm. At the same time, you have to stay alert. You have to verify things with your eyes, not by just trusting what people saying around. Also, you have to be prepared to be arrested anytime, or you have to be prepared that you're gonna get hurt. Apart from the protests, I've been through like a lot in this past 3 months. I had this boyfriend that I really liked. We broke up. I think if the protests never happen, or I never think it's a responsibility of myself, then we would have been still together. I would say it's more sad if we actually fight for nothing at the end. I always say one thing, it's like, if you started to protest being in a movement or like the situation now, all this kind of relationship stuff, you can just like leave it and then you can just focus on the society, which is more important than everything. I never cry in the protest, or like I never cry on the field. Sometimes I would cry after I went home, after I saw some news. But that day when I got beat up, when I feel like I could actually got arrested, there was like 30 seconds to like 1 minute that I feel like I couldn't do that anymore. all I was thinking is probably this is the last time that I could like freely out there protesting.
My confidence for pushing grew up because very many people tell me that I inspire them, and this keeps me pushing because I fear to fail. I fear that if I stop, then I won't have done anything. I could just have left it just like other people do. But since I stood up in the first place, I should be strong enough to stand up until the end. Sometimes I ask myself if I am the right person to lead the movement. And sometimes I feel that maybe someone should be doing what I am doing right now, because I had to change my life in order to support my activism. I also lost some friends along the way because I didn't have so much time with them. I feel like I'm not spending enough time with my parents, and I wish I could spend more time with them. But events abroad always creates a conflict in me. This morning, I received an invitation to a World Climate Conference in Copenhagen. That's massive for me. I don't really realize it yet, but I feel like that can really change my life. Activism needs a lot of commitment and sacrifices. But I'm just wondering if it will ever pay out, if people will really listen to me. But at the same time, this invitation is creating big conflicts in me. Traveling abroad is unusual for me, and I won't be able to see my family for a very long time. It's not easy for me.
Nemwewuunya ye ng'asobola okuggyayo ekintu bwe kityo nga simwongedde magezi nga sina kugamba ye ng'ate yalinga mbuulira yalinga ansomesa bwe kirina okuba kati byemukola birungi naye wale yange weeri
tibajja tutta
ye ekyo kyembadde neeraliikiriramu kyokka mpozzi n'ekirala kye neeraliikirira abantu abakuyita mu nsi ez'enjawulo
otyanga nsobola okubula
neŋŋamba bannange omwana wange ne bamuyita egindi ne popularity.
Being at the front line means a lot of risks. Many people lost their eyes by the hands of the police. They just shoot rubber bullets directly on their faces. I always hope this doesn't happen to me. It's a very special thing about our protest that all of the 400 people lost their eyes here on Plaza Dignidad, on Dignity Square. It's a place filled with blood, and it also divides Santiago. It's the border between the rich and the poor Santiago. And I think that it's symbolic for the split in our country.
This lady still has the bullet on her eye. It's really, really powerful to see. She obviously lost her eye.
What I fear the most about the protest, you can see here. More than 400 people got shot in their faces by rubber bullets and lost one of their eyes. We always say, dignity here cost one eye.
No, yo fui al funeral, pero fue rígido, como pesado y eso. Lloré caleta, nunca había visto.
Ese mismo viernes que murió él, yo me iba a juntar con mi viejo porque mi viejo también siempre está también ahí, bueno, pues como de él siempre saqué así como esa garra de pelear siempre. Y nos íbamos a juntar. Me acuerdo que me llama así como una hora más tarde de lo que habíamos quedado de juntar.
¿Qué día?
El viernes que murió él.
Ay.
Y me dice así como, me dispararon. Fue tan cerca que lo que le disparó el Paco que le entraron así como como en el músculo del muslo.
¿Y cómo está? ¿Se le infectó o lo tiene muy adentro?
Lo tiene muy adentro y como una pelota, así como cuando se encapsula la wea.
Oh, qué horrible. Y el cuerpo empieza a rechazar eso.
Sí, entonces le dijeron así como que tienen que esperar un poco más, que el cuerpo como que más rechace la wea y que pueden como operarlo, ¿cachai?
Claro.
Y lo van a operar a los cabros de la Chile que están operando gratis
a
la gente.
¿Y es como clandestino?
Más o menos.
Sí, no, es que pasa
Sí.
porque...
Sí, de hecho tenía que ir como a lo Prado.
Sí, la atención pública no están atendiendo como se debiera. Pero hay una criminalización en las agresiones, ¿cachai? O sea, cuando a mí me ingresaron, nunca se me va a olvidar porque la tipa me dice... ¿qué le pasó? Y digo, bueno, un balín, impacto de balín por carabineros. ¿Y usted está segura? ¿Y cómo lo sabe? Y yo, sí, estáis de urgencia, estáis el ojo sangrando y te empiezan a cuestionar. O sea, ¿qué te pasa? ¿Cachai? Le dije, ¿qué quiere? ¿Que le traiga los 7 testigos? Tengo 8, así que... Y ella se queda callada, así como, ya. Imagínate. Esto es una lacrimógena. Estas son las CS, están tirando. Estas son las que tiraban. Con todas estas quedaron los primeros 200 personas ciegas. Cuando me pasó esto, cuando sufrí la agresión de carabinero, yo me cuestioné un montón. Yo dije, claro, a lo mejor me anduve exponiendo. Y después decía, no, nada. O sea, yo estaba pasando, estaba caminando. No había manifestaciones. Era un día de Año Nuevo. El único error fue pasar frente a ellos con mi cámara pensando en que ellos iban a estar tranquilos. Y cacha. Confié y mira, así. O sea, horrible.
La Cumbre Mundial de Alcaldes
Albert T40 in Copenhagen. The C40 World Mayor Summit is taking place in Copenhagen.
They'll also discuss the next steps in tackling the effects of climate change. Prominent politicians will be joined by young activists from all over the globe.
Climate change, and we need to be activists, not politicians.
I'm a bit lost about what I really have to say.
Is there anything that you want to say, like from just your whole experience so far here at the summit, like that you would like to tell the world?
Yes.
What would you like to tell the world?
A lot.
What sort of thing are you feeling strongly about?
I think we've shared more what we demand, and we haven't shared more what our inspirations are or what we really feel in our communities. So I think it can be a way of how to inspire people into action, but not directly pushing them, but changing their mindset into it.
I think that would be really powerful. I think it's important that it's for you as well to what is it that you want to say?
Yeah. I feel like I've overtalked, and we've overtalked about what is happening, and I feel like we should just act and just stop talking, because after giving these speeches and people say oh, you inspire us, inspirations every time, and it feels like business as usual. Okay, inspirations, and then you go back home, and then in your bed you hesitate still. You don't do anything about this inspiration thing, and I feel today it should be different. I should talk about me.
Where China's parliament has reportedly passed a controversial national security law for Hong Kong. Critics fear will give Beijing more control over the semi-autonomous territory. Hong Kong's new security law is in full force with arrests and a very heavy police presence on the ground.
It doesn't just affect Hong Kongers, it actually affects every single person around the world. So if you've said anything bad about China and Hong Kong together through the lens of this national security law, you could be committing a crime.
For a lot of people in Hong Kong, this is considered a pretty dark day.
The Hong Kong security law was developed secretly in China. It forces the protest to end and makes every sign of resistance illegal. I don't go out, or I don't see anyone anymore because I want to stay normal and unsuspicious. I'm always scared. I'm very scared that some people maybe they're following me or they're watching me. one of my best friends. Her nickname was Blackwater. She was always with me at the protests. She was very brave and she always protected me. We had dinner, we talked about the news and the security law. She told me that she's very concerned about it. And she looked so tired. And she told me that she couldn't sleep. And the next day she got arrested. I've never felt so powerless. It hit me really hard, especially because I can't see her anymore. I can't talk to her anymore. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, next month, but it is not for next 10 years. One my really close friend texted me right Beijing passed the law and was like, okay, that's it. Everything that we did, it doesn't matter now. And 2 days later, she killed herself. I don't know what will happen next. Maybe I didn't work hard enough, or we didn't find the right way to express our demands. But at the same time, I just don't know if there is any other way that we can stop them. My belief in what we're fighting for at the moment, it hasn't break down, but I think my fear is bigger than my belief right now. I think fear is their biggest weapon against us. Sometimes I think that should I just give up? I mean, I was in the fight for so long and invested everything. I sometimes wonder, like, is it better to just accepting the dictatorship? Maybe the fear then goes away. Maybe then I can sleep good again when I just stop caring about my city.
most important? I guess this one. I had it with my father. He has it on his chest. And I guess like the meaning of this is our entire relation. We still feel this way. I'm very, very grateful for my dad, that he enabled me to go to university and live the life that I'm living right now. Just thinking about losing him was the most horrible moment in my life. He made me the woman that I am today.
I spent the whole night preparing my speech, and now I feel like I can't wait to share it with people. I'm a bit anxious about what they'll think about it or after I've said it, but I'm also hopeful that they will act and it will open their minds to action.
Yeah, big smile. Okay, please coming in.
Thank you. I am Hilda, and I am the founder of Fridays for Future in Uganda. I am missing my classes right now, same way I have missed them for the last 6 weeks to create climate awareness. It's not a surprise because I once missed 3 months of school due to the effects of climate change we experienced in my family and community. And my father wasn't able to raise my tuition fees. I am a victim of this whole climate crisis, and I am not ashamed to say so. After the massive effects of climate change in my home village, the heavy rains, the strong winds that washed away our crops, leaving the land bare, the constant dry spells that left the streams dry, my parents had to sell off our land and livestock to sustain our lives. And when the money was over, it was a question of survival and death. I am lucky that I'm still surviving, and I will I am lucky that I am still surviving, and I will not take this chance for granted because people are dying every day. I made a decision to protect the only place I call Earth, and by this I joined fellow young activists all over the globe to protect our future. Through endless fights, sacrifices, we hustle our way because this is our future. I will tell you that we are a generation of scared people, but very ambitious, very united, very persistent, and very good at action. Your beds might be comfortable right now, but not for long. You will soon feel the same heat we feel every day. Be rest assured that youth from the other side of the world fighting for a safe future for you and for us all, and are not about to give up yet. Let's move away from this summit with action. I thank you all.
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that we weren't able to stand against the ones who are bullying us. It doesn't really matter if we're smart and innovative, taking it to the streets so often, sharing our demands with the world. Now at the end, we're still alone. Everything we've done, it's for nothing.
What I learned about activism is that it affects every part of my life. It's about sleepless nights, many sacrifices and struggles because only very few people are willing to listen. And it really takes a lot not to give up. The last year has changed my life. I don't really know yet if it was worth it, but I'll do everything to make sure that it will be.
Remembering all the fights, all the injured, all the sacrifices people made, it really gives me energy. It's burning in me. I'll do anything for a better future. I owe this to my father. I owe this to my future children. We already lost so many battles. We can't risk losing this one. We don't risk our future by protesting on the streets. Not going on the streets and not raising our voices will risk our future way more. It's our generation who can change the course of history.
de la dictature. Moi, je vois pas d'autres mots. Voilà. Donc, vous laissez pas faire, quoi. Ah, une dernière chose. Attaque. Bah, une dernière chose. Un souvenir du concert la dernière fois. Allez, bonjour chez vous. À bientôt, hein.